Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome everyone to the Miles and Crawford Variety Hour, the MC Variety Hour. If you hadn't tuned in last week when we explained that we were going to shorten that shit down. Am I right, Miles?
You are so right. Woo woo. Hello.
Woo, woo. Hello. We're a little late on our podcast. I had to push it back this week.
Crawford had to make some money, bitches, so don't be so judgy.
Yeah, I had to work Friday now. It's usually when we broadcast. I did make some money. I also did a whole bunch of shots at the end of my shift and kind of blacked out a little bit.
Nice.
Apparently, though, I did okay. I puked on the side of the car. I had to go wash it the next day. I don't usually drink, so I don't want anybody to think, like, Jesus, she's a fucking drunk, because that's not true.
I mean, even if you are, it's all good. It's all good if you are. I mean, sometimes you just gotta take a few fucking shots to the face.
I know exactly what you mean. Just
Yeah.
boom, boom, bam, 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 bam.
Hey, quick notice. I want to put this out there because I don't want to forget if we get sidetracked, which, you know, we do.
Oh my gosh, we're already getting sidetracked talking about it.
Right. So I want to go ahead and start off this episode by giving us giving everybody a big shout out to the No Phony Network. It was a network that was created by the guys who do Politics with Dummies. Jay Ray and Loot Dog, I believe, are their names. Always a fun guys that we chat it up on Twitter, and now we're chatting it up on Discord. So anyways, a No Phony Podcast Network is a great network of different variety of podcasters. You've got Chasing a Dream, which is a podcast about baseball and visiting all the Major League Baseball stadiums and going there and meeting, those guys. Punk Rock and Politics, which is bands and talking about politics, so which is great. From the bottom is the other podcast that's on this network. They just talk about crazy stuff like we do. It's really just a variation of shit, which is awesome, and I always like those. The other one is called Between the Profound and the Profane. It's just a comedy, fun, easygoing. I listened about half one of their episodes. Very funny. Really enjoyed it. Bats and Balls podcast, which is everything sports. And also you have the Know Your Draft podcast, which is a podcast. I have yet to listen to them. Don't worry, you're on my list this week, boys. But it's about movies, pop culture, television. And then, of course, Release the Clowns sketch show is also a part of the No Phony Podcast Network. So shout out to all of you podcasters. Thank you for Politics with Dummies for, getting this network started. They created their own webpage, nophonynetwork.com. And it's going to feature each podcast for a month. And it has a link to all of our sites. So, for those who don't find us through Spreaker or, Podbean or Twitter, and they're on this network and they're visiting it, they can actually visit various podcasts and be able to check all of us out in our different websites. So thanks, guys. That was my shout out. Woo woo.
Very nice, Miles. You listen to a lot of podcasts.
I do.
I'm kind of impressed at how often you're like, I even see you on Twitter because I don't tweet much myself, but I do read your tweets.
There's like a million of them. Out of like the 1,700, there's a lot.
Right. So I listen to it. I mean, I'm sorry. I read them. I keep up with our Twitter, even though you don't hear from me too often. I'm there, motherfuckers. So let's talk about some news this week.
I mean, fuck the news this week.
I feel like the NRA is kind of getting their own. I mean, it's like the tide has finally turned. All those kids that are able to vote now are starting,
Did you know that the NRA was recently here in Findlay, Ohio?
No, I did not. You know what? I think I did. I think you shared something about it.
Yeah, so I kind of forgot about it. I'm not going to lie, just because I'm like, fuck these guys. So if their name gets brought up, I'm like, fuck the NRA. And but anyways, I was going to my friend's house the other day, and there they were. Like, I'm not sure if it was the full NRA. It had, NRA banners all along the driveway, so it had something to do with the NRA, and the fucking cars were piled in at this event center on Blanchard Street, and they were all just packed in there. I'm like, great, definitely not driving back by that on my way home, just because you never know. And they're getting pissed. The NRA is suing the state of Florida because they want to fucking, push back people who to buy guns have to be at least 21 years of age. So here's my thoughts.
Here's your thoughts. Sing it, sister.
Here's my thing. I get it. Somebody who wants to kill wants to kill. Of course, it doesn't exactly always matter whether or not this person who's on a killing rampage is 18, 21, 36, 52, 94, whatever the fuck their age is, okay? When you want to kill, you want to kill. And if you want a gun, absolutely, you're gonna get a gun. Oh, no shit. I've heard that fucking fight like, so many times. It drives me nuts. Here's the thing. If you can take, and I get it. So I get people's perspective. If we can send you out to the fucking Army or the Navy, Marines, whatever, National Guard. I mean, there's a bajillion different, aspects of the military. And if you can go join and kill people at 18, you should be able to register for a gun. So I understand your point of view. I agree that if you are a military personnel and you are 18 years or 19 or 20 years old and you live in the state of Florida and you are serving our country, or you are on the police force or whatever it is that mandates you to have a gun, absolutely. But if you are a raging hormonal fucking nut job, I don't think you should have a gun. I just don't. That's my theory. I have no problem with reasonable gun ownership. I know a lot of really great gun owners. I have no problem with them owning their guns because they lock them up. I know that they as well are with me. We're not asking for anything. We just want to make sure that you have a mental health background check, that you haven't had any violent history, that as an adult, I mean, I get it. Pushing it back to 21 is a bit I think it's a long stretch. I think that's the right thing for Florida to do because they just went underneath a severe school shooting, and they're going to act properly for their state to help stop another school shooting from happening. We stopped selling guns to minors after Columbine, or at least Kmart did. So why is it so unexpected that Florida wants to push back the gun age?
I was really proud of Florida for being like, you know what, we're going to change this shit. Because that's their second mass shooting in a year? A little over a year?
Yeah, because Orlando just happened a little over a year ago.
Exactly.
And that was happening, that was last August was Las Vegas. Yes. So this most recent August, September was the Las Vegas. And then like 4 or 5 months prior to that was, it happened in like March. Because that's right. I had just visited Orlando. So it had to be about March time when the Orlando shooting happened. I remember saying, wow, that's like twice now I've been in a major city in like 2 or 3 weeks following a mass shooting has occurred. And I'm glad I wasn't actually there for when it happened. So yeah.
I'm sorry. I had muted my microphone. I was talking. I was gonna say, I always joke about Florida being the toilet bowl of America because the worst crimes happen there.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they do.
You hear the craziest shit that comes out of Florida, and I don't know. I think it's the heat for one, and they get them alligators. So.
And not only that, do you remember when that guy fucking took those bath salts and ate that fucking dude's face while he was running down naked on the highway?
Florida. We should have got a list together of Casey Anthony, Florida.
See, I mean, I'm sure Octomom. I mean, there's all kinds of weird shit that and I get it because they're a large penis, shaped state that weird things are going to happen there. It's just how the tides have turned their way.
I don't know if all of our listeners, because they're all in different locations, but in Ohio, how many people do you know that are like, yeah, I'm moving to Florida? I know so many people who are always moving to Florida and then they end up coming back because they're broke.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think Florida is just such a melting pot, of people flocking to Florida to make their dreams come true. Yeah.
But they don't come true very rarely. And I'm not saying,
And they
and
come
I have
back.
a girl who, yeah, and I've had a girl, she moved to Florida, shit didn't happen. She moved back to Ohio, realized, fuck Ohio, went back to Florida. You know, so, I mean, I don't know. I personally couldn't live in Florida on any level just because of the fucking heat. I hate the fucking heat. Like, I hate it. Like, I have found out that Tennessee is right about the most perfect level of where I want to be, because the humidity is thick in the summer, but it's not as swampy as it is in the real deep south. And they also get the winter, you know, so they do get a little bit of snow, but it's not like, you know, inches of snow, and they're not getting the negative lake effect bullshit. They're getting some cold, like 20s and 30s. But by, you know, when I was in Nashville, and it was, you know, 65, 72 degrees outside and sunny, and the tulips were out already in Nashville. And I'm like, okay, I could live here. I could do Christmas here. And, you know, by like late February, the tulips are already out. So I could probably live here. I know it gets a little humid there, but I mean, fuck, Ohio is a swamp as well. So I think if I could deal with Ohio, I could deal with Tennessee. So Tennessee is like my level of heat. But Florida, y'all got like hurricanes and mass crazy people. I don't know. It's just, I don't think that will ever be my life.
I love Tennessee, first of all. So cute. Little houses in the mountains. I know, it's beautiful, man. All them stupid mountains. I love it. I love it. So yeah, I like Tennessee. Have you ever been to Georgia? I love that.
I have not.
Like red sand or red clay or whatever. I really like that quite a bit. I don't think it's just, no, I've been to Savannah, Georgia when I was 9 or 10. That was really cool. I got to see the ocean. See, I think that's about as far south as I've really gone.
Yeah, like, and I've been through Georgia. I've never actually been to Georgia.
It's not that pretty.
Last year I visited.
I just like the like red clay sand or whatever that they have.
Yeah, and Savannah is gorgeous from all the pictures I've seen. And I've got some cousins who live down in Georgia, and I know that if I ever really needed some safety down in Georgia, I would have some. I have family that lives down there, and I've got an uncle who passed away and had this. He has a beautiful house. Beautiful. I can't even say it. Beautiful house. It's fucking massive acres. They've got a hill so big that they've taken like the massive tarps, and they can go down the hill on the fucking slippery slopes and then fucking land into a creek. You know, I mean, just gorgeous property. But you know, they're real also. I mean, they're real hill jacks. So there's that. That's why I haven't visited them. But I would love Georgia. I love New Orleans. I love the South. It's just, I can't even do the heat in the summers of Ohio. Like, I can't. So I'm not sure if I could really, I hear that you're going to get used to it. No, like, I get so fucking angry. I just want to deal with like middle temperature all the time.
Yes,
that's why I want to live in Ireland.
A little bit of a breeze, partly cloudy.
Yes.
Beautiful. That's my perfect weather. That's what I want all the time.
All year round. And that's kind of why I wanted to end up in Ireland, because if you look at Ireland's 12-month forecast, it's fucking perfect. It's like blue jeans and fucking hoodie weather 12 months a year. It gets a little warm in the summer, but you're talking like low 80s at best. Perfect. Let's do it. You know, like, let's do that. And then like, but most of the year it's 70s. In the winter it's like 40s. Cool. Like, I can do that all the time. I just want to fucking drink a Guinness. Actually, no, I just want to drink some fucking Irish whiskey. You know, wear a sweater, fucking blue jeans, and have a bonfire. And Ireland seems to be the perfect weather for that year round. I mean, nothing against the United States, but fuck it.
What are you doing? Some cocaine? You got the sniffles? I'm just joking. I got a cat crying in the background, everybody.
Aww.
Always has to...
Aww.
Make an appearance. How are your kittens?
Oh my God, my kitties are opening their eyes and they're doing okay. Mama cat's getting real crazy. She doesn't like when we pick them up and try to like bathe them or do anything at all. She gets real, you know, we're trying to bathe them and they got one of the cat, their eyes a little crusty, you know? And so we're just making sure that it stays clean, you know, because it's the only one cat that has that problem. And she gets all fucking crazy. Oh my God, she gets nuts. And she's become very barbaric in front of the entire like front part of the house. So because she had them in Parker's room, like everything from the kitchen back is now hers. The kitchen, our room, like the dogs, even like she even hears our little claws, like even tiptoeing into the kitchen. She is out there, tail up, like smacking them around. I'm like, whoa. They're not even near you. Like, but she ain't having nobody's shit. So, but they're doing really good. They're doing really great. Man, the cats are doing great. Life here has it's been chaotic. Like I said, the travels, Nashville was fun and crazy and nuts, and as is all work outings. But I did get to listen to a lot of local music, which was great. And I loved all of that. And I just enjoy Nashville. Every time I go down there, it's just gorgeous. So if you guys are having the chance, even if you're not a country fan, I mean, there is live music and an open bar all the time in Nashville. They're growing exponentially down there. The job opportunities are endless. And if you are live and you want to do something, go to Nashville, because it really is a great place. If you can't make it in America and you're not on MTV, go to Nashville, because you're going to get paid just as good of money if you hit up one bar every one night. Burps. So yeah, so we talked about that. We talked about some gun policy, the NRAs. Crawford, like, how do you feel about gun ownership? Because I got in this conversation last night, so I need to know, like, what do you feel about gun ownership?
That people should be background checks. I do think the age limit should be raised, only because it seems like there's a lot of accidents and a lot of things that happen with, I think 21 is a good age for, you gotta be 21 to drink. Why shouldn't you be 21 to buy a gun? I don't have a problem with people owning guns or a stockpile of guns, but I don't think that people need AR-15s. I don't like hunting. It bothers me, but I don't like hunting for sport, I guess is what I should say. People who hunt and for food, that's different, because usually they're very humane about it, but people who hunt for sport, I think that should be illegal. It pisses me off, like when you see those trophies from other countries and people who pay millions and millions of dollars to have a chance to hunt an old lion or elephant or whatever the fuck is in vogue for hunters. But I don't think that people should own assault rifles. Anything that is made to kill people, that is for military use, shouldn't be owned by common people. You don't need them. There's no reason for it. It's illegal to use. In Ohio, there are more gun laws protecting what you can use to kill a deer than there are humans. You can only use certain guns to kill deer.
It's so really, I mean, it's just, and that's just it. And I get that we could talk about how gun violence has dropped dramatically. I believe in responsible
gun ownership, I guess, is what I'm saying, is gun safes, gun locks, proper background checks, waiting periods, I guess. I don't know. It depends on what we're taught, the specifics. But I think that we could, people are like, well, if we limit good people from having guns, then the criminals will have them. Well, how do the criminals get them? They steal them from people who get them legally. You know what I mean? Like, that just, to me, that's just stupid.
And I agree that I think that there's a lot of people out there who say, okay, well, why do all these massive, tragedies happen in gun-free zones? And I don't know why they happen. I wish that there was an answer as to why these tragedies are happening when they're happening and why they're happening. I can't put my finger on it. I'm not a fucking genius. I don't know this. I'm not a statistical reader who reads the stats every single day. And I'm not, fucking Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the fucking crazy eyes and the red string in my garage everywhere. Okay. I'm not that person, but I do think that, yes, we have gone down in gun violence from like the early 50s and 60s. But we have also increased the way that we're killing and who we're killing. And I think that also has something that we should always talk about, which is, for me, I was talking about this last night with a few of my friends, about how I'm all about it, but it's really difficult for me to stomach the fact that a domestic abuser isn't being put in the spotlight when he goes to buy a gun, and that we are more worried about putting out 15 and 20% tariffs on aluminum and steel than we are about making sure, or these new tax breaks that are putting $1,000 in some of the Walmart worker pockets. But we're not worried about why we can't hire one other person in the local police department to make sure that a domestic abuser can't buy a gun. We're not checking and balancing ourselves. And that's where I get really frustrated with the system, is because I believe that you should own a gun for personal, private, for the way that how you feel. And like Crawford said, hey, if you want to do like a stockpile, I got a few friends too. They live out in the fucking country. They want to blow shit up because they love blowing shit up. Who doesn't want to blow up some shit if you can blow up some shit? Okay. I'm not against it. However, I also know that these people are reasonable. Well, do you know they're reasonable, Miles? Yes, I do. And I'm telling you that if they went through a mental health check, they would pass it. And I believe that at some point, though, that when we're talking about just gun violence in general, is that we're not doing enough to, double check our mental health standards and to double also do proper background checks. Yes, if a domestic abuser wants to get a gun to kill his wife, absolutely, he's going to do it one way or the other. The dark net exists for a reason. But if we can make it even an hour or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hours harder for him to get that gun, if he has to go through more loopholes in order to purchase that gun, to me, that's important. Not because we're going to end all gun violence. We're not. I'm not dumb. Just because we have gun laws, it doesn't mean that people are going to quit dying from guns. Like, we're not fucking morons. But I think that we can decrease the amount of women who are being killed by guns if we had proper background checks on domestic abusers. I believe we can stop, more school shootings if the people who own guns also have mental health background checks. And even if the mom and dad are okay, as the kids grow up, I think, and I know this is a little outrageous, guys, but I think that the kids should be mentally health checked too. If you are a parent who owns a gun in your house, please do me a favor and send your kid to a counselor. Not because your kid's fucked up, but because as a smart gun owner, if your kid is going through something that they can't tell you as a parent, I think that it is a smart thing to do is to have your kid, not with a school counselor, I'm talking like real, like counselors, is that they get checked once a year just to make sure, that at least they're in the right place. Because once they learn your code, it's your gun in their hands against a school full of bullies. So let's just be reasonable about America.
Just a little bit of reason. That's all we're asking. I don't think that it's a big thing to ask. I really don't. I think that I really am just glad with the news, with people are pulling sponsorships and deals from the NRA. I am really pissed off about Georgia. I think I bitched about that last time, so I won't take up time complaining about punishing Delta Airlines for breaking the NRA, which I think I read only 11 people took advantage of that discount. So, okay, whatever, NRA. But the tone is changing. I think, there's legislations being introduced. I think it's finally like, okay, enough is enough. And I've said that enough time is enough. Things have to happen to enough people for people to finally care and want to change it. When you hear about all these things, you're like, oh, that's so sad, but that doesn't affect me. I don't feel it. But ever since that Parkland shooting, we've been having active shooter threats, and it's been a very scary environment at schools. And I really think that that's the younger people doing that to like scare it up. I think they're really behind this. I'm talking about kids from like 16 to 20. Like I think that this is kind of their movement. Like, no, we're tired of dying.
They're tired of it. They're so tired of it. And I think it's one of those things too that, in last night's conversation with a few of my friends that we talked about, what kind of deals do we have to make as Americans? for our safety, for our health care in order, and that's something that I think that me and Crawford have definitely harped on. I mean, there was I need to find it. There was an article I know that Crawford would really enjoy. There was an Ohio Supreme Court judge that stood up to Jeff Sessions, because Jeff Sessions really is all about making sure that we are, prisoning the poor for being poor. Like there was a legitimate law that had to get made that said you can't keep throwing people in jail just because they're poor. Like that's not okay. And Jeff Sessions comes in and is like, well, I mean, maybe we should judge the poor a little bit harsher. And
well, they're awful people.
I mean, they're also fucking awful.
I would never let a poor person run any of my businesses. Trump said that. I don't know. I'm being funny.
We all know that Trump's poor, right? Like you guys know that
he's cash poor.
Yeah.
That's why he holds all of those meetings and does so much presidential stuff at his properties, is because he's generating money. That's why he won't release his tax returns, because that dude is broke as fuck.
Yeah, well, that and he keeps having his lawyers pay off hookers like Stormy Daniels. So, how do you feel about the Stormy Daniels? Like, do you feel?
I love it. I love that whole scandal.
Yeah, tell me all.
No, I really do. Just because I was actually just reading a little bit ago that they're trying to stop a 60 Minutes interview with her, and she's basically saying that she has the right to talk about it because he never actually signed the non-disclosure agreement. So she's like, I can talk about whatever I want. How do you like that? Yeah, 2 thumbs up, which is my middle fingers, honestly.
I mean, she's such a hooker. She's such a hooker.
Well, I know, and I do believe there's a tape out there too, isn't there?
Yeah. Though there's tapes. There's all kinds of shit on Trump.
I would take the news. I would take their word for it. I would never watch that. I would never have to be like, well, I have to see this to believe it. Like that's not Trump. If you look at the angle and the shadow on the wall,
Yeah, how gross. Like it's so gross. And I think it's just one of those, like, for one, I would never pay ever to watch porn with Trump. It's so gross. It makes me want to vomit.
Just the noises that he would make.
Bigly. Bigly.
He's probably really weird. I don't even want to get into it. We're gonna have people puking across the country as they listen to this. Like, oh, now it's in your head too. That's all you're gonna think of.
Oh, it's so terrible. Stormy Daniels. I mean, I think at this point, it's kind of a sidekick. It really is just
just a distraction from something else.
It really is. I mean, there's all kinds of distractions. And, okay, Crawford, I need to know your opinion, because I had a male colleague say this to me last night, and I guess I need a female perspective. He said, what happened to the Me Too movement? I feel like it lasted 2 months, Amanda, and that was all it was. And I was like, shit. Like, what happened?
That didn't happen. What it did was it's just not mainstream news anymore. You're not reading headlines of who's being accused and whatever else, but there's still people talking about it on blogs and podcasts, things like that. Like people are openly talking about.
And that's what
it's shifted. Yeah, it was just a hashtag like Me Too, but it shifted to a conversation of what is appropriate and what's inappropriate, and more of a debate. Men are like, well, is it okay to flirt at all? Because I get that, how are you supposed to let somebody know that you're interested while still being respectful?
Yeah.
And drawing back. And I totally get that. So, I don't know. I
thought it was a really interesting, concept.
Liquid.
Yeah, I think that there was somebody who, who mentioned it, and it was a male colleague who said, whatever happened to this Me Too movement? And I was sitting there for a minute. I was like, well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, it's not a thing anymore. It's like it faded. I'm like, I don't think it faded. I just, and then we talked about how you can only, okay, so this is going to sound really shitty, and that's okay. I guess it's what it's what our podcast is called Raw for a reason. But
yeah, motherfuckers.
You can only say things so many times over and over again when people fucking quit. They're tired. They're tired of listening to it, and I'm not saying women, just hear me out, because before you go fucking
No,
bash
that's
it.
what that was my point too. I mean, I was saying, so, you know what I mean? Like, it just takes a back seat. If you put it in people's faces all the time, then they just get
They're not
tired
gonna
of it.
care.
About it. So that's why it's not making the front page of the news. I got air quotes because we don't read newspapers. We read on the, but you know, it's not the top trending topic anymore, but it's still there. So go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right, and that's just it. Like, it's one of those things that's not on the top of the news. As I was telling him, like, it's still happening. Women are feeling empowered, and I'm trying, if anybody read my recent drunken blog, I got like a bunch of cocktails in me on Friday night and got all like invigorated to make it right. So I was blogging it up and went on this whole like rampage about, men and women and intimacy, and how women are now feeling more empowered, and that, I feel like men are feeling submissive, and they feel like their ego's being hurt. And they feel like there's no right way to approach a woman anymore. And I'm always, it's not that. Like, intimacy is something that's beyond like, hey baby, you want to fuck? Like, that's not intimate, dudes. And that is
Right.
gross.
People are disgusting, and I'm disgusted with you. I think, just a look or whatever, you can really kind of be like, how you doing? Without having to be like, how you doing?
Yeah,
I'm a
and I feel
pervert,
like
though.
it's one of those things. No, like, and I'm the same way. Where like I'm super perverted sometimes. I have worked in a very male-dominated industry for most of
Yep.
my life. And I remember one of my friends saying, "Hey, it's come after here, it's come after there, and when's it really going to come after the restaurant and industry?" And I said, "Well, it did." I said, Mario Batali and that other fucking chef guy. He was famous on Top Chefs, but not like famous in
Oh.
like real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the blondish, whatever hair. And, so all these guys are getting, accused of like, sexual wrongdoing and, the kitchen or whatever else. And I mean, honestly, if you've been a fucking chick that works on a fucking kitchen line, like we've all heard it 1,000
Lot of
times.
dick joke.
A lot of dick jokes, a lot of just grotesque shit. And not only that, but like when you open your mouth and you say something like to go along with the perversion of the kitchen,
Right.
and then you never live it down, So I'm like, it is happening. It's not that people are no longer, talking about it, or that the restaurant business hasn't been affected by the Me Too movement. I think people also, though, to some degree, are going to be a lot more weary, or however the hell you want to say that word, about
Wary.
when they wary. There you go.
I'm
A lot
pretty
more
sure.
wary about when they confront a woman and how they're going to speak to her. And I work with a guy. He was a lot older of a gentleman, and we were enemies about this time last year. And now I'm, after about a year of just really working with him, I get him now. I don't excuse his actions or his behavior. Don't get me wrong, but he's fucking gross. Like, he's gross. He's a gross old man. Like, and if it at any point that we get another female new hire that doesn't respond well to his perversion, it's an end game for him. It's going to be his job.
That's so
Like,
gross.
yeah. However, like for me, for somebody who's been around the block 1,000 times, I'm like, here's another dirty old fucking pervert from the East Coast. Like there's a mindset of that
Right.
60.
I'm used to
He's
it.
in his fucking 60s. Like he's in his 60s, born and raised in the New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania area. Like there's.
Maurice or-
Yeah. Oh, those fucking poor bastards, but they get hit for the third time. But but he's old. Like, I remember last year. I mean, I think even when we first started this podcast, I bitched a fucking fit about him, and I'm still bitching about him. But like, I can like roll off like a year ago, his comments are really fucking gross and demeaning, and how fucking dare you? And now look at him like, you're gonna get fired if you keep saying this shit. Like, I don't care, because I've met your wife, and he's like, there's two different sides of this guy. Like, his wife comes around, he's like the sweetest, kindest. It's so funny. Anyways, but I appreciate him, because I know that like I can't expect somebody who's 65 years old to change their mentality of women overnight.
Right.
I'm not I'm not doubting the movement. I'm saying, like, are you really going to change a 65-year-old fucking pervert that has been born and raised to fucking whistle at women and they belong in the kitchen? That's not right. Of course it's not right. But, I mean, now if there's a 19-year-old who has that same point of view, yeah, I'm going to fucking like, what the fuck, motherfucker? You grow your shit up. And it's not because... But there is, like, to me, like, there's a generational forgiveness. I'm not saying that we forgive fucking Bill Cosby or fucking Chevy Chase or any of those, like, disgusting motherfuckers. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
What I'm saying is that when you're coming across, as you as a human being, when you come across somebody of a different generation and they are saying things, you know, what is known to them as not okay is completely different than what's not okay now. And that's because of the Me Too movement. And what even I accept now, I'm going to go with it. A 10-year-old girl, when she is my age, will be like, what the fuck was wrong with you? You know, and she's going to look at me like, you fucking bitch, you know, for never, how dare you even accept that? Awesome. And if that's what this movement is doing, that's what I hope that, you know, the end game is, that we're actually going to change a generation before or after us, you know?
No, I completely agree about. Oh, it's such a big topic, and there's so many little details that just when I sit there and I think about, like, you know, when you're on a long drive or whatever, and you're like, but at the same time, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't know, this generation, and I would even say like 70-year-olds, they're bad too. Another 30 years, would you say, and that generation will have died off, and
yeah,
we'll be in a different society, I guess you would say. Like, that'll be like how we look at the 1920, like, you know, women churning butter, not having any rights. Like, it's almost it's history, you know. It's like, it's just like, to us it's such a foreign concept, you know, whereas who knows, in 30 years, like, it's such a weird idea for women to be considered lesser of the two sexes, you know. I mean, maybe it could happen that soon. I'm not saying it will, but
no, that would be fantastic. I think that you're completely right, that as we start seeing this old generation die, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, they're gonna die. Okay, it happens, guys. It just, you know, old age, pancreatic cancer, crap like that. It just happens. And but as we see this older generation go away, I think a lot of those same standards are going to go away, and that's what's really going to change. And I think that's what people don't understand when it comes to something like the Senate or the House or the majority, or, you know, a little bit of everything. Why people don't understand the big difference about getting old men out of politics. We're never going to actually change our government.
We need a diverse voice in politics, representing everybody, you know? We're a melting pot. We should have a melting pot in Congress.
Oh, no, I would have to agree. And I think that's where we suffer. You know, I think that we suffer because we have too many people. I mean, look, Elizabeth Warren, you're great and all. I think that it's fucked up that you're denying yourself getting a DNA test to verify your fucking Indian privilege, you know. I think that's real shasty of you. Like, I do. Bernie Sanders, I love you. I got your back, but I don't think you're going to run in 2020. I think that even if you did, I think there's too much resentment still within the Democrats to really give him the ticket that he deserves, which sucks. It really does. I'm not saying that we shouldn't still go for Bernie, but y'all got to remember too, he is getting up there. But you guys got to think about, if you really want to fucking change your government, I mean, vote them the fuck out. There should be no reason there's somebody who's 75 years old that's running our Senate and that's running a state that's filled with 30-year-olds. You know? Why
do you have to be so old to run this country? I mean, I agree that I'm not saying that 20-year-olds should be out there, but there's nothing wrong with them running for city council. There's a lot of kids out there that are very mature and career-oriented. You know what I mean? That would have... I just think we need that diversity. You know, we need everybody.
I agree.
I mean, it's okay if we have a few elders, because people who are older, I'm talking about people who are fucking wise, though, okay? You know, to have an elder council.
That doesn't mean, you know, because you're old doesn't mean that you're fucking wise. Like,
no, but I'm saying that there are people out there that they've lived a long time, and they've used all that time to learn, you know? So there's nothing wrong with somebody who has spent the 60 years learning and educating, and they're not assholes about it. You know, they're just like, I read about, I don't know. But, you know, we need diversity. We need women. We need people of color. We need different ages, different backgrounds, income levels, professional backgrounds. You know, we need the melting pot that America is to actually speak for Americans.
I would have to 100% agree to that. I really do. I think that we need a change in America, and we're getting there. And, you know, and I get it, you know, nothing's going to change overnight. I mean, you think about that, you know, 6 months ago, we started this podcast on a whim, you know, of an idea and what we've gone through
like 9 months now.
Oh my God, it has, June. You know, but from meeting in my garage to, oh yeah, is it June? Jesus. From meeting in my garage, and now we're doing it, you know, via Skype, Zencastr, or whatever. And then at some point we'll remarry, you know, in the garage, you know, and really meet up for that. Oh, so excited. And so happy. But I mean, I think it's all those things that, you know, you can see our very first handful of episodes to now, how our editing has changed, how our topics have changed, how we have changed and grown. And so I get where people are like, well, they're in the Senate. They have a few, dude, I'm all about, but y'all have 4 fucking years to make it right. And if after 40 years you're still not listening and not changing with your constituents, go fuck yourself.
If you're not listening to the people you represent, then what are you doing? Because that's your whole job. You got one job and you're not doing it, you know? Just the one.
Not doing it at all. Oh my God. So, but we actually appreciate everybody. The last few weeks, we know we've been kind of discombobulated, you know, in our podcasting. There's been traveling, you know, Crawford's sick this week. I was sick last week. There's a whole just slew of things.
We just, we've been putting out what we can. And I don't know. I think sometimes people enjoy just us conversing. 2 ladies talking. That's what we do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I wish we would get more feedback. Like, I mean, we get some great reviews from other podcasters, which we totally appreciate. I would just wish that some of our other listeners, I mean, there's a comment box on Podbean, on SoundCloud, iTunes. Like, you can email us at milesandcrawford@gmail.com. You know, give us some feedback and be like, guys, why
we don't even have at least some hate mail? I mean, we're not even getting any hate mail. Nobody even hates us, you know? Like, nobody likes us and nobody hates us. They just neutral, you know? You know what? You're all right. We get listens, but absolutely, it's like cricket.
Yeah, we want some feedback, guys. Like, hey, by the way, here's a topic we would like for you to cover. And even if we don't cover it right that next week, we'll cover it the following week.
Like, we will cover the tell shit us out of it. I mean, I'm not joking. I will do research. Yeah. I will type it up. It'll be organized. You know what? That would be fun. We'll have a little contest, like weird themes that people think up and throw at us. Like, okay, so we've got Bill R. And Bill wants us to look up what kind of wood they used on puppets in the 1930s.
Ooh,
Bill, first of all, take your ass to Antique Roadshow. Because I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I guess we should dive into something with some meat on it.
I mean, we haven't. I mean, I know, but I feel like we've been diving. Yeah. Like, I want to dive in. Okay, so like we did some shit. I mean, I think that we really should dive in. I don't know, marijuana.
Marijuanas.
Marijuana, Mary Jane. Let's talk. I mean, there's so much to talk about because people are still against it, and I don't understand.
I don't understand that either. They have those preconceived notions and they never change them after that. They're like, no, my mom told me that was bad when I was like 8. So, no, that's bad. I don't smoke pot.
It's not that bad, guys. Like, I'm not saying it's perfect, but, and I mean, Crawford will vouch for this. I don't smoke a fuck ton of weed. I hit it up every once in a great blue moon, but I really don't get stoned, but I'm all about stoners' rights. I really am. I love stoners. They're my favorite people. Yeah, you smoke a lot of weed and I don't, and that's not nothing wrong with that. I'm like, but you know, if Crawford comes around and she's like, "Hey, I got a little, like, you want to hit it?" Fuck yeah, I do.
Me coming to her garage.
I do. It's true. Because I mean, because also Crawford knows though that she hands me that bowl, it's going to be like 2 fucking passes. I'm like,
I remember the first time we did our podcast and we were stoned. It was terrible. We both kept losing our thought. We had to I don't know what episode it is either, but I do remember it.
We were fucking fucked.
But you know what? That's what we do, and that's who we are. You know, most of the time,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm drunk, sometimes you're drunk.
Most of the time, I'm at least, like, I'm usually a little tipsy starting off, and by the end of, like, the podcast, you can hear a slur speech.
So it's getting ranty.
I get real fucking ranty.
Gets off on a tangent, like, you know what, America? You know what really grinds my fucking gears? And I'm over here stoned, like, no, Miles, tell me. It's like patchouli burning over here. It's total opposite.
It is. It's fantastic, and I'm really excited too because I think now next Friday, or this upcoming Friday, is the day before St. Patty's Day, and I know I'm so excited. We should do some. Oh, we should do Irish thing. Like we really should.
There we go. Irish blessings.
Yeah, Irish blessings, everybody. So we could do like an Irish thing, an Irish theme.
Let's get
then,
drunk.
and then so drunk. And yeah, we should. And I'm actually coming to see you that Saturday because you work St. Patty's morning, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good, because I'm coming out.
Oh, dude, that's cool.
Yeah, I decided. And then the following week, I'm actually going to a book reading on the 22nd. I'm going to see J.D. Vance, who wrote Hillbilly Elegy.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, so he's doing a book reading here in Findlay. Tickets are like $10. I mean, they're nothing too big, but he's doing like the community read program where he's going to be at the Marathon Performing Arts, and I want to go when I love the book. I get it. Look, I get everybody's feeling about J.D. Vance right now. I do, especially in Ohio. I get everybody's feeling about him, but I found the book before it became some crazy bestseller, and before it got, put to everybody's classroom as a mandatory read. But I really found the book truly like super enlightening, and I really enjoyed his story and the way he told his story. So, I want to talk about that, the next following week for a little bit, like not for like 45 minutes, but for like a little bit. We should talk about Hillbilly Elegy because I think that's a book that's pretty phenomenal.
I love that idea. I love it.
Yeah. And then by then, we'll be going into fucking April, and spring will have arrived, and it's going to be fucking gorgeous, and my garage is going to smell like fucking spring again, and flowers are going to be blooming, and my kids will be so big, and it'll be great.
I'm excited. I'm tired of winter. I've been sick all winter long. Everybody has. It's an epidemic, but not a pandemic, everybody. Don't panic.
Yeah, it's gonna snow in April. We're from Ohio. Like, it's gonna snow in April.
That's what I was telling Jason. I was like, we always get like it'll be nice for a while, and then we'll get one last nasty snow.
Yeah.
And then it'll be 80 degrees the next day.
It happens every year. It does.
Weird.
It's so weird. Like, you start to get into it. You're like, oh, fuck yeah. I'm going to plant some flowers. I'm feeling so good. I'm outside. I'm going to have a bonfire. Fucking snowstorm. And then you're like, God damn it, I'm in shorts while I'm sledding. Awesome. Like, it's fucking Ohio.
Doesn't even make sense. I know. I love it, but I hate it.
That's why we're all sick in Ohio. That's why, like, all the times me and fucking Crawford are always going to sound, if it's not allergies and it's a fucking weather change, and we're always sick. Always.
It's cold and the weather changes constantly. It's not right. It's not right.
No, it's so ridiculous.
So yeah, we're gonna do some St. Patty's stuff next Friday. I think marijuana will tie in with that well because it's green. And
yeah.
So yeah, look forward to green beer and green weed.
Woo!
You got anything else to add there, Miles?
Fuck no, I love you guys.
I love
Thanks
you guys
for listening.
too. Yeah.
Give us some fucking commentary, will you?
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm literally begging for it. Like, or go on our website, milesandcrawford.com. Email us, milesandcrawford@gmail.com. Visit us at fucking Twitter at MC Variety Hour. Fucking see us on Facebook at Miles and Crawford Variety Hour on Facebook. There's now we're in farts.
We're in the farts.
We're in the farts. Now we are a part of the No Phony Network, which is nophonynetwork.com. Come and visit us.
Yeah.
Talk about us. Give us some shit. Rile us up. Start a fight with me while I'm drunk. Let's do this.
Right? I feel sorry for anybody that would do that. Because I've seen your Facebook feed. But anyways, she can argue. I'm just gonna say, should have been a lawyer. Should have been a lawyer.
Yeah. I'm kind of a current.
See you next Tuesday. All right, everybody. I think that's all we have for this week. Thank you for tuning in, and you can find us on all your favorite streaming platforms. We're literally everywhere. Thanks for tuning in. I think I said that already, but you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Bye.
Bye.